That's one of my favorite shows of all time.
The best show
You guys say
on
that
TV.
again.
What is it?
Oh no, that's Whose Line?
Yeah, Whose Line is it anyway? Yeah, welcome back to another episode of Blockchain Basement, where the rules are made up and the points don't matter. That's right. The points are like a proof of work Ethereum miner.
And tell chat.
Hey, TJ won't let it go.
There was
you
not
won't
an
let
audio
it go.
issue. It's more that my macro is set to trigger the mics on when it goes to TJ shot, not the butt shot.
Oh,
So
I did.
all that
However,
was intentional.
Sorry about the butt.
All that was intentional.
welcome back, Prepper Crypto. We miss you here. Hope your home project is going well. I know you're trying to make them extra bucks to stack some crypto in the bear market. As always, welcome into the basement. All of our favorites: Razmataz, Manawak,
Yeah, Corey.
Punt, Puin, 78th Daily, Unforgettable Name, Corey Harden, Prepper Crypto, Smokey, Crimson Caravan Company, Music Maven, Smokey 7110, Riddled with Puns, Sofa King Crypto, Fat Sack 21. Anybody else that's in there, say something in the chat so I can see your name. Also, be sure to throw in a lot of questions. This show is interactive. I'm always torn on how much I should actually pull information and go through it in a systematic way, or just talk and hang out and chat. It's designed to be a little bit more relaxed. So, the more you guys engage with us, the more we can engage with you.
Music Maven simping for Hannah. We see you there.
Okay. Yeah, Hannah's out today or working on some other stuff. Allie's actually out sick. So we'll try to have some of them in here from time to time. So a little
important. I have a live view of the bear market.
Oh, God.
Here we go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that the bear market, or is that just your typical Tuesday night, BJ?
Wait, are those otters or bears?
Yeah.
We can look again. I just look. God, it is like the lowest res photo
I swear.
ever.
I was gonna say, I swear that guy has a Litecoin hat on. You just can't tell.
Is that Tom Brown?
Yeah, exactly. Without the shades, he really changes.
Oh yeah.
No, we're going to talk a little bit about what to expect for next year. This is something that's been on my mind. DZ and I were talking about it a little bit on the morning stream today. Some hostile takeovers. Got Ryan Selkis came out and made a statement about Coinbase being a potential target for a hostile takeover. Now we're seeing some FUD from Elizabeth Warren around Silvergate. You guys know, if you've watched episodes here, we've talked a decent amount about Silvergate. They're very well positioned with the current market landscape as a bank to make money in a high inflation, high interest rate, or low interest rate environment.
Like Skeletor's fudding something.
Yeah, they're saying like, oh, we want to probe into Silvergate now due to their FTX connection. And it's very baffling. They want to look at it now, not when they were really supposed to be doing all that due diligence. So.
Yeah. I love a good probe.
Yeah, I'm starting to kind of work, and this is something I've been talking about with nation states coming in. If you're trying to be the top dog in an asset, if you're trying to hold as much as you can, you need to take from the current ones that hold the most, not just start building in mining and earning. You're gonna have to take it from the other major players, and I think that might be what we start to see. If we see big banks come in and hostile, either direct or indirect takeover of Coinbase or of Silvergate, who's another public company whose stock's just been getting crushed the last few months, we could see JP Morgan doing, having a pretty strong play and strong hold on some of the major market players in digital assets and crypto and blockchain moving forward, even though they're kind of quote unquote late to the party. I would say a lot of people would say we are still early. So one thing to note, BJ, we don't have to worry about it right now, but I have noticed on some of the playback and clips and stuff, the frame rate audio seems to be just millimeters off. We probably need to delay it.
It's obviously perfect.
Yeah, obviously it's perfect. But a slight delay maybe on the vMix side might fix
clap
that.
for me, baby.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And I think it has something to do with the frame rate of the
It's I blame Brian.
Yeah.
It's all my fault.
We'll blame Hit Gaming, right?
Yeah,
We are
say,
in the Hit Gaming
it's
studio.
Time to blame Joel.
We're going to blame Joel. You know what? He's always down here playing games and pushing buttons and stuff, and
literally does nothing but play games. Who does he think he is?
Guys, if you don't watch or subscribe to Hit Gaming, definitely check it out. It's bear market. Sometimes we just need to kill time, right? If you're bored, play some video games, hang out, chat. That's what we do. So,
all right, clap for me one more time, baby.
Oh gosh,
there we go.
Better.
Somebody put 150 millisecond delay that I didn't know about.
All right, yeah. See, there you go. Somebody was trying to fix something and didn't.
Sofa King Crypto.
Also, I didn't even shout out. We haven't even come to your shot yet. The beautiful Space Commander, the flowing locks, Biscuit Jesus
I don't
himself.
feel pretty today.
Oh, look at that. What is your skinny hoodie say? Dream hack. Oh, look at that.
Dream hack.
True nerd. True nerd. We have a Cardano story we pulled just for our spaceship commander. Not literally just for him. I mean, a lot of. Well, I would say Ada gang, but apparently we're not allowed to say that anymore. A lot of the
yes, we are.
I mean, I'm
down here.
Come on,
I'm a fan of Ada
It's
gang.
the
I'm not
Ada
gonna lie.
entourage.
Yeah,
Ada Entourage. I kind of like that.
not even the
Not
Oxa
bad.
game.
That's better than Cardano community for sure. Ada Entourage. I'm into that.
We have a special guest on their way, by the way.
special guest on.
Special guest.
Ooh, I
on
like
our way.
it. I like it when we get surprises. So, other than Cardano, we've got some, Jack talking about potential in Africa, and we've got the infamous at this point SBF has now hired Ghislaine Maxwell's attorney. Oh, hey, we do have. Is that the special guest? All right, special guest going to be joining us here today. We got.
Wait, who's the simp? Who's happy now?
Hannah Hughes, aka not Hannah the Kid anymore, but that's what you were originally. That's
Sorry,
always
you're
what I
gonna have to
think
move
of
that
in my
mic.
head,
Hannah the Kid.
Yeah. So help us bring in questions from the chat, and we're going to be talking about the future of crypto a little bit here today. So when it comes to hostile takeovers, Nick, do you see that as a likely or plausible scenario as we move into next year? Do you think that's a legitimate kind of thing to keep an eye on for next year? 2023, we know it's going to be heavy-handed in regulation. What do you think? Hostile takeovers of things like Coinbase, things like Silvergate.
For sure.
Okay.
That's totally in the cards. I think Coinbase is going to be tough just because Coinbase is the best positioned in the market as far as finding ways to defeat a hostile takeover. Like they could pull in money, they could dilute their shares, they could do all these other sorts of things. I think a smaller player, possibly like Kraken. Wait, they're not public yet, are they?
Kraken has not gone public.
Okay.
No.
Even still,
There are plans, from what I've understand,
Yeah.
plans for Kraken to go public in 2023. But
if an exchange is foolish enough to go public next year and their stock acts like Coinbase's stock,
Mhm.
they will get scooped up in a moment. I think there's also a high possibility of Robinhood splitting off and having their own crypto arm that's fully funded by Citadel or whatever backing them. So.
Interesting. And I think, we were talking earlier this week or last week on the show about Circle that had a plan to potentially go public, that they've kicked it down the road a little bit. They're saying not right at the beginning of next year. This is still our long-term plan, but for the time being, we're going to keep it private.
Mhm.
That could be for reasons of wanting to protect financial information, protect, potential attacks. Gemini, I do not believe is a public company.
They're private, but I wouldn't be surprised if they took Nifty Gateway public.
There you go. And so Gemini, Winklevoss twins, they've got a lot of other assets and properties that, like he said, Nifty Gateway, one of their NFT marketplaces, could be a potential for going public there. So this is the tweet that kind of got me thinking about it. Ryan Selkis said, I wouldn't be surprised to see Coinbase as a hostile takeover target by a big bank in 2023. I hope this doesn't happen, but with the debt at 15% yield and the decline below 10 billion in market cap, it would cost Jamie Dimon roughly 5% of JPM stock to buy the market leader outright. And if you think about it like in terms like that, 5% of your current stock to buy an emerging market leader outright, it's a pretty major. Now, the caveat here is, I need to reread the 10K, but Coinbase has dual class shares and Brian has super majority on voting. So hostile takeover attempts would be unlikely to succeed, but still theoretically possible if they combine other issues, prolonged downturn, etc. So basically meaning Brian Armstrong, the CEO, founder of Coinbase, would have to sign off on this, and wouldn't make it hostile necessarily. Now they could just acquire it. I mean, there's some other comments in here. Coinbase trades more than double comparable high yield bonds. Why couldn't a small bank be a target of Coinbase acquisition? Which it could be, which is something FTX was looking. I mean, FTX was looking to do that for licensings and things like that. It could be only 20% cheaper next quarter. So it was just an interesting thought process. And to me, when I saw this, I was like, Coinbase, to me, less likely than maybe a Silvergate, who again has been hammered, but I don't know again what the voting rights are and how all that stuff works. But it's something we've seen in emerging markets, with whether you're talking tobacco industry, media industry, manufacturing industry. We've seen major market players come up, gobble up the competition, consolidation, and generally speaking, the ones sitting on a lot of cash, that can, when the consolidation happens in bear markets, are the ones that are able to take advantage. So let me ask you this. If it's whether Coinbase does or doesn't get acquired, do we see JPM Morgan doing some acquisitions? Like we covered the story yesterday. Goldman Sachs says they think they're going to do 10 million in acquisitions, or at least, over the next few years. Do you think we still need more steps by JP Morgan into the space to acquire maybe some house names?
Brian, you take it first.
Ooh, house names. I don't know. I think they're definitely going to try to get more into the crypto space. Well, one thing I wanted to comment just on what you were saying too is just like really looking at the core values of these house names. Like, if they care about decentralization, I think there's a lot less chance they'll get, kind of taken over, or or it's just all about the money, right? And if it's all about the money, it's just corporate greed that's going to get to a lot of these people. Yeah, of course. Chase is a big bank. They're going to try to be forward thinking. They're a little bit slower than maybe some of the other people, but they're going to try to get as many names under the belt that they can.
Yeah, I mean, we know JP Morgan's already involved with Consensus, which is MetaMask, very heavily involved with the Ethereum ecosystem.
That's Goldman Sachs, right? Consensus?
Well, it's both. JP Morgan and Goldman are involved. But I know JP Morgan has, I want to say, up to like 15% stake in Consensus.
Okay.
I
thought it was just in Fura. You're probably right, though. You're probably right. I mean, the thing, the weird angle with JP Morgan specifically is the fact that they have Cardano. So I would imagine they're going to be dumping more and more money into Cardano because they see the enterprise blockchain as the next level. And now that you have ChatGPT coming in, they want that chat. On All In Podcast, they were saying right now we have software as a service like Uber and whatever, and all those apps that they sell. Right now, moving forward, it's going to be models as a service. So it's going to be the AI model that you need for your company, for your enterprise, for your business. That's what they're going to be selling. So they want and what can't happen is the model be corrupted. We just got dumped on, y'all.
Yeah, they can't hear it. When anytime somebody flushes the toilet up there, we can hear the literal getting dumped on. So,
hot in here.
If you're into that, come hang out in the basement.
Was there corn?
We'll
Chipotle special.
Yeah, Chipotle. So they're going to be selling models as a service. You cannot have your AI model on a centralized server to where it could be corrupted. So they're going to want those AIs on a blockchain ASAP. And I think that's where Cardano is going to move. You've got stuff like Constellation. You've got stuff like HBAR. Cardano wants to be that enterprise level blockchain. By the way, Constellation, if you guys have not looked into Constellation, we're in the basement. I can talk about like
Let it rip.
Like,
Constellation
seriously,
Shout out to Prepper
Constellation, holy crap. That is going to be a top level performer, I believe, in the next bull run. It is so darn cheap right now, and they haven't, like, no one knows about it, and it's for the military. It's basically militaryblockchain.com. So you've got Boeing and Raytheon and all these people about to be going big into DAG.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good pick for next year. We're going to talk about that a little bit more. I do want to wrap this up on the Shump Assassin mentioned. DZ said he might be looking into investing into Marathon. That's another publicly traded company. We know there's Riot Blockchain, CleanSpark. I could see some big mining operations where big money starts to slowly acquire stakes in them. We've already seen Berkshire Hathaway starting to move in that direction with some companies in Brazil, Nubank, I believe it was. So that's something else to keep on your radar. I do think we're going to see major people getting into, or major financial partners getting into crypto as this goes forward. Hostile takeover or subtle takeover, I think we will start to see consolidation, unfortunately, back into the players' hands who have really kind of wrecked the financial system as it stands right now. Yeah, we talked about this yesterday, Blackstone limiting withdrawals. So a couple things in the chat that I wanted to mention. I don't like KDA unless it's the League of Legends band. Great reference, Crimson Caravan Company. KDA, kill death assist, for you guys who don't know. Yeah, great. And it also a good band. Also, shout out to Arcane. If you guys haven't watched on Netflix, if you're a League of Legends fan, anybody who plays League should definitely watch Arcane.
Team Solo made these nuts.
Did they make a second season of that, or is there just one?
I don't know. It's a good question. Let's look.
Hannah,
Chat, if anybody knows, is there more than one season of Arcane?
Hannah, have you done the Arcane filter on TikTok?
No.
Oh.
I haven't seen it.
Do you know what that is? Oh,
Yeah, League of Legends. It has something to do with it.
It basically turns your face. It's like an AI thing. It turns your face into a character from that show.
Oh, nice.
Apparently makes every man look like their anime crush.
Mhm.
I haven't done it. I don't have an anime crush.
We
so I
should
don't-
try it.
Yeah, we got to make
Run
a
it.
we got to make a TikTok after this. So it looks like still just one season of Arcane. I think I watched it in like 2 days, one weekend, something like that. It was one of those like, hey, I'm home alone, everybody's out of town, like got nothing to do, let's crank it out. So yeah, I would recommend it if you guys.
I don't
play
want
it.
to see Arcane, another season of Arcane until there's another season of Invincible. Have you seen Invincible? Bro.
What's it about?
Chat, tell TJ about Invincible and why he needs to watch it. It's basically like, have you seen The Boys?
The Voice?
The Boys.
Boys.
No,
The Boys.
I don't watch
Oh,
a lot of TV, guys.
That's fine.
I will be honest.
That's fine.
Oh, you're doing it right now. Let me see.
Wait, I found Nick's anime.
Oh.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Nick, I found your anime crush.
I want to do
What's
it on
that?
y'all, but
Oh, Cthulhu.
That's creepy. That's so creepy.
That was a
Nick has
hentai
the
reference.
sunglasses.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not gonna be able to see.
Just tentacles.
Just bringing up the best modern day shows, man. All right, Shump Assassin in the house. Unless there's beard oil, only person. Oh gosh, Corey, don't make the seat slippery. Just
Beard
take it
oil?
easy over there.
Wait, beard oil?
I use beard oil.
For-
Yeah, I
for
use
lube? That feels like a lube ref.
no
Yeah.
beard oil. I use it every day.
Do you really?
Yeah, you gotta maintain.
I don't know. I've never used beard oil.
Nick, who's your anime crush?
I don't have an anime crush.
All right,
I really
who
don't.
Lies, Jessica Rabbit. That's everybody's.
That's
Just
that's
Is
not
that
anime, though.
That's
That's
animated.
that's OG.
That's Western anime.
What is that? That's-
OG double D.
That's OG.
All right, BJ, give us an anime reference for the anime people out there. I know you watch anime.
Like what? I don't know what.
Give me
kind of
name a popular anime crush.
I cannot remember her name at all. She's from Jobless Reincarnation.
Sailor
Or
Moon.
Faye.
Put yourself on camera when you confess.
Fucking Faye from
Faye.
Cowboy Bebop.
Yeah, but that's so
But
easy.
It's one of the chicks from
Bulma, get out of here,
No,
Crimson
yeah.
Caravan Company.
Jobless Reincarnation. I can't remember her name though.
Bulma.
All right,
Cool
we're gonna
story.
talk a little Cardano.
Mine
here.
is Majin Buu. There you go.
Cardano.
I wasn't gonna ask you, Nick.
Cardano.
Nobody cares.
Ada gang. Let's go.
By the way, Nick, show off your shirt. If anybody hasn't seen that shirt,
Should we make this the hit merch?
yeah, we're working on some different hit merch designs. That's not one of them, but you're gonna be seeing some creative stuff coming out next year. I thought of.
Are you in the top 1%?
Thought of a good one.
1%?
Too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's what it was. I wanted to do a shirt that said. I saw it in the chat today. You're talking about like verify. You know, don't trust, verify, or whatever. You should just say Bitcoin. Trust yourself.
Like
Like
yourself.
you know,
That's
something like
beautiful.
that. I think that'd be a solid shirt. But
We should
anyway,
partner with Movement Watches and make a market watch.
the MVMT people.
MVMT.
Yeah.
Dope. Go for it. Death Note. M for Death.
You ready? You ready to move on?
I'm ready.
Are you ready?
You ready?
Are you ready?
All right,
If you're
you guys
ready.
ready?
Let's
In the
do
chat. I did. Well, hold on. I need to scroll back up. We need to, guys, help me grab questions out of the chat because I see them come up, but if I'm in
Yeah.
the middle, I don't want to stop the thought. So if you guys see anything good, help me because I did see
Yeah,
there were
I'll
some
follow
questions
along.
about Avalanche. Somebody mentioned something about Matic that I thought was interesting because I do want to kind of talk about and hear what you guys like. You were saying Constellation DAG you think is going to be strong next year. I want to kind of hear where you think things are going. This story is going to set us up with that a little bit with the fact that we're
Wait,
moving.
there's questions about FE203.
No.
What are you talking about, BJ? Is that I feel like that was one of those like ICUP kind of jokes.
No, that's the empirical formula for Rust. FE203.
Oh,
Come on.
I didn't see it. I didn't see the question. Here we go. Cardano partners with Zengate to bring NFTs to Sri Lanka's tea factory. Will it drive ADA to $5? That's the headline. I don't know if it will, but there's some interesting things in here that I thought were worth touching on. Today was a big day for Zengate and this other Comdex. With the help of Sri Lanka team, we assigned an memorandum of understanding with Sri Lanka Tea Factories Owners Association to utilize Ergo NFTs on Cardano tech as well as Atala to bring robust commercial ecosystem to Sri Lanka. So
Atala.
yeah, so this is
The Hun.
what's that?
Sri
Uh-huh.
Lanka.
Yeah. So the Sri Lanka tea market will be available on the blockchain via Cardano and Ergo, which is I think pretty interesting. Palmyra will enable tea manufacturers and marketers in Sri Lanka to access affordable enterprise-grade solutions to shore up their businesses. These solutions will also assist business people with finding and sealing leakages in their supply chains to improve their profits. So this really what I wanted to do. We'll come back to the story here in a minute, but supply chain, we talked about it a little bit this morning. We had Robert Kiyosaki, a lot of big financial pundits and people out there pointing to supply chain and supply chain issues as part of what we've been experiencing. We're expecting to continue to experience moving into the future, and there's really no end in sight in how we're going to fix those problems. blockchain really beyond remittances and cross-border payment, supply chain is really the number 2, in my opinion, most relevant and applicable use cases for blockchain technology in order to have a real world impact quickly. And we're seeing it right here. Like, this might seem small, some random tea company in Sri Lanka partnering with Cardano to use Ergo NFTs, but it's proving the model. It's proving the use case of getting true insights and tracking on the blockchain to where all this stuff is coming from and why. One example of that, this is something I was talking about literally yesterday. I'm going to go on a little bit of a tangent here, how everything organic's kind of a scam, but it is in a lot of ways. Like, part of the way the rules are written for a lot of farms and a lot of products, like if you want to say, like this is these fruit berry things here, right? And it's like, you want to be able to put on your packaging, organic farms, blah, 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 meaning you don't spray any chemicals on your products. Well, then you go read the fine print, and the rule really says as long as you have 15% of your products or crops that aren't sprayed, you can call your entire farm organic.
Really?
Yes, there's little details in there like that.
My favorite example of this, so there's a lady who tried to sue Naked. Remember the drinks?
Yeah.
Yes.
Because it said all natural. And she was like, there's formaldehyde in here.
Yeah.
Formaldehyde is technically all natural. You just don't want it in there, but
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
Oh, she lost the shit out of that case.
I
I mean, it's a
Interesting.
naturally occurring compound.
Well, and that's the thing. These people, the big money, whether it's an institution or a conglomerate, so to speak, they know how to work the rules to their favor. And there's really, as a consumer, I don't know if this farm is legitimately 100% organic or if they're just doing the bare minimum to be able to put that on the label so they can raise the price and charge me more. I have no idea.
Yeah.
I'm just having to trust third-party intermediaries, trust the store, trust the manufacturer, trust the chain of command of the product that, from where to went to the farm all the way to me. Where with things like this, you could actually scan a QR code, look right there on your phone. Okay, the berries came from this farm. This is the, grade, that they spray all of their stuff. It went to
How
this.
long is that going to take though? Because freaking they
Long
already
time.
it's going to take forever. You go to the store now, they're using what are they called? The point of sale systems or their databases from like a decade ago.
They're called POSs for a reason.
Yeah, and they're horrible. And they just sit there and they're just waiting for it to load, and then they can't. Or you go to Home Depot and they can't even find your product on the thing. They have to manually look it up and for your length of 2x4 or
Brian.
whatever it is.
Weren't you at Bitcoin Miami 2022 and Jack Mallers went on stage and said you could
God, stop.
pay at everywhere in Walmart and Home Depot with Satoshis, you idiot?
Yeah.
Yeah, and Urkelson said that's like trusting the FDA. No thanks. And I agree. It's going to take, so to answer your question, it's going to take a long time. I'd say 10 years plus, maybe 15 years, 10 to 15 years, I think, before we see it actually working at scale in a decent way. That being said, there's never been a stronger motivation and incentive to get that done than the experiences we're having right now. We saw news today. Apple was saying they're bringing all their chip manufacturing back to U.S. soils.
Crazy.
It's absolutely crazy, and it's a direct statement to the issues we're having with supply chain. I see Crypto Mikey says, TJ, let's talking and answer more of our questions, please. Doing the best I can,
You
man.
want some?
Yeah,
Some
hit us,
questions?
pull some questions from the chat. Like I
Okay.
said, it's hard for me to talk and read at the same time.
I know. Let's see. There was one.
If they incentivize it, it could happen quicker or make it mandatory or something like that.
And I think they will. There will be incentives, and I think this is really fascinating to me. Cardano, they understand the supply chain issues, and they seem to be really focused on pushing this agenda. They're pushing it in Africa, which is something I want to talk about a little bit later in the show. Development from emerging countries, second world countries, third world countries. Hey, you don't talk to TJ like that. Thanks, Corey.
That's true. I do have a question from Europe War 6.
Okay.
And I got a good one after that.
Okay, what is your most accumulated medium risk coin this bear market, i.e. Gala, Algo, Sand, etc.?
I haven't done a lot of accumulating. Just getting started.
Yeah.
That's the truth.
And the same question goes along with this. How many coins are you each planning on holding going into the next bull run?
That's
All
a
done.
really good, what is the ideal size of a portfolio? Not as far as dollar amounts, but spread out across how many different
Less than
coins?
10 for me.
Yeah, I think Ben would say 10,
yeah, I mean, you
10
want
or
to,
less.
you want to have, you can't get spread too. I mean, obviously it depends on the size of your portfolio a little bit. For me, it's generally
July 2024,
6 to 8.
69K BTC.
Nice.
How many coins each planning on holding going into? Oh, the Music Maven likes your nails, Hannah. That's good.
Thank you. Thank
So
you.
this is one of my favorite questions. Thoughts on the Fed ruining crypto space by regulating them as securities? Irrelevant because 27 other countries don't.
So that's a great point.
It's not actually irrelevant, but I think
You're right.
that's
It's not
relevant
irrelevant,
to-
but it's not the end all be all, which I think a lot of people. So the United States, obviously the major player when it comes to financial markets. What they say when it comes to regulation will have impact. However, their regulation doesn't always go blanket across the entire world. So if they do rule a lot of things securities, it will push a lot of projects and companies and innovation offshores, which is why they're disincentivized to do that. I think they will come up with a framework that makes sense going forward, and it's not too constricting, but it does allow for some understanding of the space as we move into 2023.
Or weren't you guys talking earlier that like they'll claim their securities and then change the regulation later after it's almost too late to start?
They
buying
always
back
can.
in?
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the way they've been
keep
doing it.
Scary for a while.
Yeah, that's kind of the way they've been doing it right now. Keep it scary, keep it unknown, not give you a clear definition so where you can look for yourself. Is it a security? Is it not? They're going to keep it ambiguous. And that's what I'm saying. I think they're positioning, banks, government, big banks and big governments or small governments right now are getting positioned to take advantage of digital assets as we move forward into the next decade and beyond. And I think that's why they don't want to come out and give clarity right now, because they're still setting that up. So if we get left behind by regulations, then the world would adopt and we would still win in the end. I tend to agree with that, big crypto hands. Basically what would happen is we'd see innovation come out of Brazil. We'd see it come out of, maybe some parts of Africa, maybe some parts of, Middle East, Asia, some of those areas. Israel's a lot of innovation going on with tech and that sort of stuff. And then we just catch up. We'd let them make enough progress to where maybe they make a move up the ladder momentum-wise, but we just step in and, cover that gap. But
question from Supertrain 2455. Can you assign your monthly Prime sub to a specific channel, or do I have to resub each month?
I think you have to resub each
think you
month,
do,
from my understanding of Twitch.
Yeah.
Yes.
Music Maven, are you subbed? Because if you're not, you're a terrible simp.
Got him.
Come on, Music Maven. Got to
Yeah.
sub. Tiny
Up your
Aim-
game.
Go ahead.
No, you're good.
Views on Polygon and virtual vinyls.
Mm.
Polygon, Matic, as a lot of people refer to it. I think it's another one that's going to have, if we're talking about coins and projects that should have a strong 2023, seems to have a lot of.
Is it involved with that ghost chain?
What?
Ethereum?
It's like, what? There used to be something called Ghost. I think it was a McAfee project called Ghost or something. Like it was a privacy, or maybe it was a privacy coin he was promoting that rugged. I can't remember, but there was definitely something involving McAfee and Ghost and privacy at one point. Now I lost my train of thought.
Quantum crypto. Do you guys think the SIA NFT market can take over what the hold on, sorry.
Bro, yeah, the Solana NFT market. Bro,
Yes.
Raven Coin will take over
Yeah.
the Solana NFT market because Solana NFTs are
ugh.
dead.
The only thing Solana had
Ooh,
going
that's
for it
sad.
was Rust. That was it.
Yeah, well, and a lot of insider VCs pumping the price.
Yeah, that doesn't count in my book. Not that it's not relevant, but yeah, it's very relevant, unfortunately.
Any news on Graph? No.
Graph, Graph is an interesting one where it's kind of in its own category, not its own category, but
Is it an
somewhat
oracle?
of it. No, it's not an oracle. It's more of like an explorer. It's
Okay.
indexing information on the blockchain. It's kind of like a reverse oracle.
Oh.
It's getting all the blockchain information indexed and organized in a way that's searchable. It's kind of like an explorer, but not exactly like an explorer. It's interesting. Kind of like the Google of blockchain is what they're trying to be, a search for searching a lot of different chains. But it hasn't really, the use case to me is interesting, but I haven't looked at it recently, hasn't done much recently. It's kind of like, it reminds me of basic attention token. I just have it in my head in a similar category where it's like, when I did my research on it, I was intrigued by it. I was fascinated by it. I even bought some at the time. And then so much time goes by, nothing really happens with it. It just kind of, we'll have to wait and watch and see what happens in the next cycle. So thoughts on Near in the next bull run, since the growth of total addresses have reached around 22 million. I know Near Protocol, that was another one. Is that a Solana blockchain project? No, but it did have attachment to Alameda and FTX, I believe.
It did.
Which I know. Did you change the color?
Okay, that wasn't just me.
Yeah. Okay. Color did change. So Near's one.
That just changed back, right?
Yep, sure did. Yeah, magic. Yeah, Near's one of those ones that it's tough. It was getting a lot of momentum as a protocol. I had it on my radar, and then just for the risk, again, this may not be a good enough reason to back away from it. It might be an opportunity for you to get into it, but I looked at things that Alameda had large positions in. Near was one of them, and just kind of backed away from all of them indefinitely until we see how the rest of this stuff shakes out. That's just my take on it. I don't know if anybody else was doing anything with that, but Boomio next year.
Yeah, Boomio next year.
Yeah.
Yes, for sure. XYO is an interesting project. It's basically blockchain analytics for, what am I trying to say? Accelerometers and stuff. So it's like positional data on the blockchain. So it'll be cool for like drones and stuff, but I don't know. I don't know how many people, I don't know if it's like a project that's going to pump.
And tracked flashlights.
Yeah. Definitely. Yep.
Supertrain 2455. Could most proof of work coins be considered a commodity like BTC? Yes, I do believe that. Not all. I think the way they get mined, like if it was a pre-mine, obviously, if it was basically if it was a fair mine, if you would put it in a fair mine category or fair distribution, I do think that will be a pretty strong reason for something to be considered a commodity.
I think actually that is going to be the way that people launch coins in the next cycle. Is there's already been 2 or 3 projects this year alone that have gone live as no pre-mine coins. Radiance, Neoxa, and then Caspa. So those are all proof of work. They didn't do a pre-mine. This is how they get around the SEC securities stuff. So yeah, GPU miners, your day is coming. But yeah, Neoxa.
Will VET come back to life, or is it not worth the risk to buy anymore?
Oof, that's a good
VeChain. So VeChain, supply chain, blockchain, another one that had a strong, kind of first mover advantage in that space. It's tough. That's a tough one to call because it's another one. Great concept, great team, great progress. Has been around for a long time. But will it be the one that ultimately gets through, or will we see it implemented on another project on another chain like Cardano?
It is a CCP approved coin.
It is.
And Walmart has a partnership with it.
Is that true? 100%?
It is 100% on their website.
Well, it's fine. If it's on their website, that's great. I'm just forever scarred by Walton Chain. That was supposed to be a supply chain thing that had a partnership deal with Walmart. And, that was the big thing in 2017 or 18, and it never panned out.
Remember the great Litecoin Walmart pump of 2021?
Yeah. Somebody else.
That was Tom Crown.
Bullish on XRB. Whatever happened with Band Oracle that went nowhere? Yeah, I agree. I think I still have some Band somewhere that is worthless. So another competing Oracle doesn't. It's tough, guys. When you're looking at these things, obviously we're in the speculation business. A lot of these things you're going to take shots on. They're going to hit. You're going to make a lot of money. Some of them they're going to completely whiff. And looking at things to perform similarly to other things in that niche, sure, it's a strategy. Hey, Corey Harden with the gifted subs.
Thank you.
What a champ!
I love you.
What a champ, Corey. We love you. We gotta get you on an episode of the basement here sometime soon. I know you're.
Hang on, I gotta do a dance.
Yeah, bands to make him dance. Oh gosh.
Oh, yeah.
Oh gosh.
Damn.
Oh
That-
gosh.
I'm glad I'm not sitting where Hannah's
That
sitting.
pelvic
Oh, God.
undulation got
Look,
me.
It's all about the scoop, guys. Okay. Thoughts on Ergo? Yeah, Ergo. We just covered it. Bro.
We did.
Welcome to the basement.
And
Ergo to the moon, son.
What do you think? I know you're pretty involved with the Cardano ecosystem, BJ. Have you interacted with Ergo too much, or any thoughts on Ergo?
Not too much. I've heard a lot of positive things. I remember that was something I followed a lot a while ago, but I feel like I need to get back on that. Like, what is the new stuff that's going on with it?
Well, I mean, this story here is they were using Ergo, or NFTs on Ergo for this blockchain supply tracking stuff. It's that's what this story is. It's really NFTs on Cardano. Uses.
I feel like there was something else Ergo was doing.
I'm sure there is. I don't think that's their main.
No, I didn't think that was at all.
Look,
I don't recall.
You just rhymed.
Well,
we're gonna look. We're gonna look it up right now.
That was a bar.
They got UTXOs.
I got
What are they
some
doing?
bars.
DJ
Cyber
with the
Monday
bars.
sale. Got a roadmap. Ooh. Oh, guys, I got the Ergo roadmap right now.
Oh, it's yeah. Okay, so it's yeah. You pull it up. You got the roadmap, or you want me to pull it up?
Oh, sorry. I can send
Mhm.
it to you. It was on their Twitter.
Yeah, ASIC resistant proof of work algorithm.
Yes.
Does anybody believe that's true?
What do you mean?
how is ASIC resistant temporary, or I mean, things are only ASIC resistant for so long until somebody makes an ASIC, and then you have to fork, and then they make another one, and then
kind of. So like for Kapow, they intentionally made Kapow really, really electricity intensive, so it makes the chips run incredibly hot. So you actually can't, you physically cannot run it on an ASIC because it overheats the chips too much. So the hash rate you get on like Ergo is, it's censorship resistant. I don't know how Son of a Tech knows all the ins and outs about Autolycos, but yeah, Kapow is a pretty ASIC resistant algorithm. They've fixed ASIC resistance algorithms in the past 3 years, so they're quite resistant to it.
okay,
Mostly because there hasn't been a whole lot of updates to chip architecture. Like we have not seen processors continue to double in speed every few years. That's plateaued. So now that that's hit a plateau, it's kind of like, okay, yeah. Monero switches the algo up every few months. That's also a thing too.
That's what I'm saying, and then every few months ASICs get created and people mine it, and then they have to change it again. So it's ASIC resistant until it's not, and then they change it, then it is, and that's kind of what I was referring to. Is it's, they can't. That's part of what prevents Monero from getting further. If they're constantly updating the algorithm, and you can only get so much on there. I don't know. I've heard. I tend to believe everything will eventually, if you scale it out long enough, everything will eventually end up on one proof of work chain. I'm talking over the next 50 years.
Yeah.
Incentives will eventually push everything to one proof of work chain. There will always be ASICs on it. And it's very. I don't think they'll ever really truly be able to crack ASIC resistant. Like they've gotten better at it over time, or completely 100. I guess you could say resistant. It would be ASIC resistant, meaning it's hard to get ASICs through, but not 100% ASIC free. I guess.
Yeah, it's tough. I don't know enough about it. I know you can make tiny changes to an algorithm, and then that screws up the ASICs pretty quickly.
It does.
So if you're just if you have the same algorithm, like if it's SHA-256, and then you change it just a little bit, you can still mine on it. But
what like OS or like what do ASICs run on?
Well, I'm sorry.
They're different.
Yeah.
They don't really run an operating system.
No, they don't.
They just run
you run them on Linux, basically.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, because I'm trying to think if there was a variable that was in the blockchain that wasn't in their like language or whatever, like that would potentially be a way to block them because it wouldn't be able to do the computation.
Yeah.
It uses a different variable.
I've kind of game theoried this out. Like you can try to do like some geo locks and IP address locks, but then you can just like spoof your geolocation.
Simpler, just like straight architecture. Like say you're writing something in English and you try to translate to a language where there isn't a phonetic sound for it, where it doesn't translate across correctly, and then you end up kinking it that way.
Yeah, you said kink.
I did.
Said kink. Yeah.
One time I didn't mean
at
to.
the end of the day, isn't mining really going to be for big money players? Is kind of what you're saying. Is like. You know, people that can afford to take the risk to buy the powerful equipment that may run for X amount of time and be profitable, and then then you have to sell it all or repurpose it or whatever. Like that's kind of the problem. Like, yeah, it's super decentralized, but like you're saying, only big money players are going to be able to really control that game.
Yeah, well, that's the intention of finding an algorithm that can get ahead these ASICs.
Yeah,
because you always want you. That's better. Having a system that requires more effort and energy is better than proof of stake, because then you have you've mixed in that competitive need to constantly be evolving.
But money will always drive innovation to try to get the quickest dollar.
Well, yeah, for sure. But that's which is worse, the one that requires competition, or the one where you can just sit on a stack and then you own an Ethereum node for 100 years because you bought it, because you got in on the ICO. Like
right.
I would say in a competitive environment, in a capitalistic system, you want the one that requires more innovation, constant innovation. So
yeah. I tend to agree, and that is the core debate there, right? Because I agree with scaled out over time, the incentives do tend to draw towards big money, towards like what Brian was saying, like they're gonna just put big money behind it, and eventually the smaller players are gonna get squeezed out. Somebody said it there in the chat. Crypto Loki said ETH was supposed to be ASIC resistant when it launched, and that's true. Almost every proof of work chain when they launch, they talked about being ASIC resistant. Ravencoin, almost every Monero, every fork of Monero, Zcash, they're all intending to be ASIC resistant, and then somebody figures out a way to do it, and then they fork, and they continue to try to remain ASIC resistant, but once you get a certain scale of rewards on your chain, somebody will create an algorithm to run it. And, you know, it's just that constant battle between growth and decentralization, because you can't grow too fast without some level of centralization. That's what provides the ability for fast growth. You have to be okay. And that's part of why Cardano has moved very slow, is because they've been prioritizing decentralization over, you know, really token price, over going fast, over speed. They want it to be decentralized and work well before they worry about how much money they're making, how fast they can go, what, you know, industries they can break. But even to BJ's point that he brought up, as slow as they're going, as systematic as they're trying to be, there's still attack vectors to make Cardano centralized. There's still attack vectors to make Ethereum centralized. There's attack vectors.
There's always
Somebody
gonna
just
be-
said, could BlackRock eventually control Ethereum through Coinbase validators? Like,
Yeah.
that's an attack vector.
The great centralization event that they did. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Ethereum gave up on being ASIC resistant because Vitalik, when they did the split, he saw like early on, we need to do this ESG thing, and they gave up on it. They were moving towards proof of stake for the past, 3 or 4 years. So yeah, when there's no
2017
innovation
was
against ASIC resistance, then
3 or 4
there's no
years ago.
innovation. So yeah, I mean, Ethereum's trash.
Thank you. Oh my God. It took you guys how long I've been calling that a trash chain for a cornucopia of reasons, and now everyone's figuring it out.
Ethereum is the Netscape of crypto. It's
Not
going to be
what the-
really great for the
It's
next
more like the
3
dog
years.
pile or
Most-
Lycos.
The most profitable digital asset to exist over the time period
Yep.
of it, of its existence.
And if you invested
Yeah.
in Netscape right in the early part, you made $1 gazillion. But
Or-
who uses
or
Netscape
the
now?
middle,
No one.
Yeah, and
you know,
somebody
or
says, can
towards,
you
you know,
explain
like-
ASIC?
Yeah,
What is
can
it?
you?
application specific.
Integrated circuit.
There you go.
Okay. I'm
So-
like, y'all are talking about this. I'm like, right after this, I'm about to go research
Yeah,
ASIC.
And that's why
What is
Hannah is going to be a millionaire in the next bull run.
that's
Well,
right.
thank you.
Because she does her own research all the time. So
do your own research.
Yeah.
Shump Assassin said his Plan B hit merch T-shirt just came. He didn't see an AJ signature on it. Sorry.
We didn't want to devalue the shirt.
yeah, it didn't have
We didn't want
Algorand
to
on
put graffiti or unauthorized markings on it. So. Ethereum is the MySpace of crypto. Like I can hear a lot of those arguments. Sure. The
Why are you
question
such an Ethereum simp, TJ?
Yeah.
Tell
because
the basement.
I don't know of something I would recommend somebody I love and care about to invest in with more confidence than Ethereum. That's the bottom line.
Damn.
Is
Even
or
Bitcoin?
or Bitcoin maybe.
Okay.
But if you're trying
Maybe?
to make that's the thing. If you're trying to make returns based on my experience of what I've seen in the markets, the things that have done the most creative innovation, Bitcoin, obviously, Ethereum has created there's a lot of really good innovations that exist across many different blockchains and across many different applications in crypto that came out of the Ethereum ecosystem, and the creativity and the problem solving in that ecosystem. They're here. Okay.
What about reserve list magic cards?
About them?
Are we too loud?
I mean, my
No,
first
no,
Black Lotus I got for
gotta go.
$250, what, 15 years ago, and now it's over 100,000?
Okay.
Do I have 10 minutes or?
No. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Oh, somebody says I have nice nails. Thank you. Oh, Hannah's nails. Whatever.
So yeah, that's why I would recommend Ethereum. That's why I would recommend Bitcoin. I do recommend taking shots on other things. I've seen so many times where I thought, oh, this is better than Ethereum. This is going to kill Ethereum. This is going to
fair.
pass Ethereum. This is going to outperform Ethereum. And it never happens. Ethereum
No.
keeps growing, keeps innovating, keeps adding wallets, keeps adding application, adds real world use case. MakerDAO. I
A
think
lot of people building on it.
it is DeFi, and like, yes, Cardano has a potential to come in and disrupt some of what both Ethereum's doing and traditional markets are doing in supply chains and all this different stuff, but they wouldn't get as far without Ethereum testing and breaking and innovating. And that's part of what we need. We need, and that's part of why I think Terra was a good experiment for the space in a programmatic stablecoin DeFi. It was a spectacular failure, but we learned so much about the way things can be gamified, what actions can be taken, what incentives are there. And, it's not game theory anymore. Now we actually have facts and figures and things we can point back to that say, hey, when we did this experiment, this happened, and this is what we need to do going forward. And I think Ethereum provides a lot of that stuff. I don't think, like, again, proof of stake and a lot of those concepts came out of Ethereum. And, in those discussions, at least, even when they were talking about the problems, how do we solve it? Oh, here's a workaround. And then boom, there's a new chain and everyone's like, oh, it's going to, this new, EOS, it's got this staking concept is going to revolutionize the world. Then it's like, oh, but you have to have a dollar, you have to basically, before you interact with any single app, you need to put $1. So there's a $1 download fee before you engage in anything in the whole ecosystem. That ain't gonna work.
That's why I still think we're gonna have a hybrid system of proof of work and proof of stake, because there are issues with both. So you have pros and cons with both. So creating a hybrid system, I feel like, is where things are gonna eventually go. And then you have proof of merit.
There's the other one. Yeah,
history.
Proof of history.
Proof of authority.
One of the cool things on Cardano that they were talking about a long time ago are RG NFTs, and that stands for role granting NFTs, where you almost create, we'll call them economic communities, where everybody has different duties and you invest in
tiers.
It sounds communist. I hate it.
It's fine. Communism works in a bubble.
No, it doesn't.
In a bubble.
Yeah, in not a bubble that's not planet Earth.
Yeah,
a utopia, and in a vacuum, in a test tube somewhere, it probably could work. Yeah. No, I think that basically you're talking about maybe using NFTs kind of as a pseudo governance token sort of thing. I'm almost done.
Yeah.
All right, real quick, I want to move this along, and then we got to wrap up here. Couple things. Twitter founder Jack Dorsey urges Elon Musk to release all Twitter files publicly with no filter. Good idea, bad idea? Lightning round. Hannah, what do you think? Good idea or no?
Good idea. I would love to see it.
Brian, good?
Good. Free speech. Get it. Or, yeah. Unlock the hidden secrets of the web.
Nick, what do you think?
I'll take the contrarian view and say if there are sensitive names or assets that for people or security reasons, they shouldn't be doxxed. Let's not dox people that don't need to be doxxed, but the bad actors should totally be doxxed.
Okay, BJ, what do you think?
I think one of the worst things that can happen when you do any kind of scientific experiment is going in with confirmational bias. So being limited. Is that a word? Limited.
Do it.
You're limiting reagent being your knowledge and your research is one of the worst things you can do. So yeah, release it. Release it. Straight up.
Yeah.
Why would you gatekeep information?
Yeah,
we know why, but
yeah. And I kind of agree with Nick. Unless there's legal or safety issues, there's some basic, checklists to maybe go through before you look at information. But I think it's fascinating to me to see Jack calling for this, considering he was at the helm when most of this was going on. Now maybe he can claim
Jack wants blood.
Why did he step down?
Yeah,
I think he wants blood. But I don't know. It's an interesting because he allowed a lot of this to happen. And a lot of people say his hands were tied by the board. He couldn't do it, whatever. Maybe he didn't know some of it. He didn't, but he was still the one in charge when it did happen. So I'd be, and maybe that's why, he obviously, maybe he knows more about what this information is. Maybe the reason he's saying no filters means I want you to see the pressure I was under from heads of state, some of these kind of organizations, that sort of stuff. Maybe he was forced. That's what they said. Holdle Gang said, great job today. Remember, people tried to shut the internet down with that. What?
With what he said.
Oh, yeah, with what he said. You can release it, but redact sensitive names. That's a good way to do it. Who determines bad actors? Yeah, I tend to think it would be a very interesting thing. It's a very interesting thing to where the world is going into 2023 with technology, with blockchain, with supply chain, with money, with politics. All of this stuff is really shaping up to make a fascinating year next year. We had some other thing, AI, we've been talking about AI a lot this way, Bitcoin dominance behaving weirdly. That could be potentially a good thing.
Make it weird.
A little teaser for you guys. We're going to be covering this website. We could probably do it several different times.
Such a good website.
One of my favorite websites of all time. If you guys have followed the channel a lot, I've been talking about it, and we can kind of go back and pinpoint where all the problems happened.
That's the one time you wish you got pegged. Because we got pegged.
Yeah, I have to run. Guys, hang out with Joel in Blockchain Basement. We're going to do in Hit Gaming, we're going to do a raid there. I've got another meeting I've got to run into. Sorry I can't hang out with you guys a little bit more. Bring your questions. If we missed your question today, bring it for tomorrow. We love you guys as always. Jigglypuff, I did see this one is extremely bullish long term, so nothing to worry about there. I can't remember who asked it, but I did see that question. Hellfire Spawn, Prepper, Crypto, Smokey711, Crimson Caravan Company, Big Crypto Hands, Razmataz, Riddled with Puns, all of our favorite people. We'll see you guys back here tomorrow. Tell your friend, share it with somebody, smash a like.
Tell
Follow
your
us,
friends, tell your mom's, your sister's
saw that, Nick.
babies, and just tell them all.
All right.
Tell your mom.
So what?
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Oh God.